Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. We have a lot to discuss today. Jam-packed show, as always. We'll discuss some games from the Big Ten, a couple big games this week. Elsewhere, some Blue Bloods, maybe on the verge of not making the tournament. We'll even tell you the best team in each power conference is, as well as our picks. But we're going to start with Michigan State and their COVID situation. They've been off for a while now. They're supposed to play this weekend. If they do play this weekend, Mike, how do you think they're going to respond?
What do you mean this weekend? Our game already got postponed this weekend.
Aren't you supposed to play Indiana this weekend?
No.
Oh, no, Illinois. Supposed to play Illinois.
We're supposed to play Illinois. That got postponed. Our next game is at Rutgers next Thursday.
All right. Well, go ahead.
It's an unfortunate situation. It's kind of gotten us twice now. It got us in the summer. It's gotten us now. You can look at it two ways. You can look at the glass half full and glass half empty way. The glass half full way of looking at it is, you're going to have plenty of time to kind of regroup after the tough start for the Big Ten season. Maybe do some secretive practices and try to get ready for Rutgers, a Rutgers team that's really struggling right now. But the glass half empty way of looking at it is, you haven't practiced in a couple of weeks, haven't played a game in a couple of weeks, and you start on the road at Rutgers, and it's just a brutal stretch. Good luck, basically. That's the way I look at it. Let's say we do start at Rutgers next Thursday. We play at Rutgers, at Ohio State. That's 2 losses. Home against Nebraska, that's a win. At Michigan, that's a loss. The way Penn State's playing, we're going to lose that game at home. We're going to lose to Iowa, lose at Purdue, lose at Indiana, lose to Ohio State, lose at Maryland, and lose to Michigan again. I just don't see a way that this team does anything. And then you got the postponed games. What were the postponed games? At Iowa, that's a loss. Indiana, we can't beat them. Haven't beaten them in 3 years. That's a loss. Illinois, that's a loss. I think we might win 1 or 2 more conference games the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's a little extreme. Michigan State, they're going to find a way. They're too good to not make the tournament. So, they're going to find a way to get it.
How are we good? We suck.
I don't know, but they're going to find a way to get going. I know I keep saying it over and over again, but they're going to find a way to get going here at some point. We'll see what happens with them. But
they're going to find a way to get COVID, and that's what they did. They're doing exactly what I was hoping them to do.
I think
they need to get COVID. Someone needs to die so the season's over.
All right, that's a little extreme. So I made the picks.
Calling the people that killed themselves. I'm just saying.
I made the picks yesterday. I made the picks yesterday, and I saw the Michigan State Illinois game was still on. It must be recent when they canceled that.
Yeah, I canceled it a couple days ago.
Yeah. So. That's a bit of a break because Rutgers sucks right now. So I think Michigan State's going to go on a run a little bit. I think Michigan's going to catch them at the wrong time.
A run? Are you on crack? And you have to factor in that we still have 3 rescheduled games you have to fit in somewhere. And it's not like they're easy games. At Iowa, that's one of the hardest games in conference play. Indiana's a team we haven't beaten since 2017, 2018. And then Illinois is no cakewalk either. They're kind of struggling right now, but they'll be fine. They'll be a top 4 seed in the tournament. So it's just you're screwed. You're going to be the 13 or 14 seed in the Big Ten tournament, and then it's going to come down to those 5 days. Hope you win 5 straight. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, no. That's just ridiculous. They'll get to 9, 10 wins in conference, and
no, I can see Izzo pulling that off, winning 5 straight, but there's no way we're going to be able to make it in due to our regular season record. It's going to have to be a run.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. All right, let's get to the Big Ten games from this past week. I'll kind of lump in last Wednesday and Thursday, just 2 games to cover here. Ohio State over Northwestern. Northwestern really scuffling right now. 81-71 for the Buckeyes. And Purdue winning on the road at Indiana, another team that's scuffling right now and is looking at another year of disappointment under Archie Miller. So what do you think about these 2 games?
Well, unfortunately, the new CBS Sports app only lets me go back 7 days, so I can't go back to Wednesday. But I'll still talk about the games. Ohio State, who Ohio State? What was that game? Who
Northwestern.
Yeah, beat Northwestern. Northwestern's scuffling right now. Ohio State taking care of business, getting revenge after the first game. What was the second game?
Purdue over Indiana.
Yeah, that was a beatdown. I know Luke loves Indiana, and the truth is, the only team Indiana can beat in the Big Ten is Michigan State. They can't beat any other team right now. When you look at the talent level of these two teams, they're pretty much absolute clones of each other. Both have really big teams. You know, their point guards are big, centers big, everybody long, athletic teams. But it just seems like Purdue, you know, they were last year they struggled to shoot, but they've kind of figured that out this year a little bit. They're a very young team. Also, didn't really lose much from last year's team, except for really, you know, their role players, which really, you know, wasn't a huge loss. So, yeah, a good win for Purdue. Indiana, 9 straight losses to Purdue for Indiana. I don't even know what to think. If we lost 9 straight times to Michigan, I don't think I'd be a fan anymore. I mean, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys keep coming back to Archie Miller. He's just doing a great job. I mean, I'll start with the Ohio State game, though.
No, he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, if Indiana makes the tournament this year,
they won't.
Then he will progressively get better each year, which is exactly what you need.
It's not good enough. Yeah, the Ohio State game, you know, Ohio State looked to be playing very well until a couple nights ago. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, Dwayne Washington has really been nails for them lately. That was a big game for him. And Luke's guy, Kyle Young, 5 for 5 from the field. So a big game for him. Northwestern needs to figure it out, or they're not going to make the tournament. They got those early season wins. But, you know, it's not good enough right now, their resume, and they need to start playing better. As for the Indiana game, I mean, I keep going back to it. Archie Miller, I was calling for his job last year. He needs to go. You got these. By the way, Al Durham is a really good player, and they do not use him enough.
He's been there for 20 years.
Yeah, he has been. They don't use him enough. He was 1 for 5 in this game against their rival, who they haven't beaten in forever, as you said. And, you know, it's a lot of Trace Jackson Davis, a lot of Race Thompson. They don't use Finney or Durham correctly. I don't like the way they play at all. And it's on Archie Miller. They're not very good. That's just the bottom line. Indiana's not very good. Purdue, though, is playing pretty well right now.
They got the talent. Indiana's got the talent. They just got to find a way to get going. You know, they'll get 2 wins over Michigan State. So, I mean, how good are those wins going to be? That's the question. They play at Iowa later tonight. That's a big opportunity. If you knock off them, then you're in the tournament. Well, I mean, you got to knock out the teams you're supposed to be. But, yeah, you know, get one of those big wins. They got plenty of opportunities coming up. Let's see if they can cash them in.
Yeah, Jaden Ivey. We'll talk about that shot he hit a little later, but he's coming on here. And, you know, Trevion Williams just been really steady for them. I know you think they should be starting Zach Edey, who sucks.
I didn't say that.
No, you did say that a couple weeks ago.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I think I wanted both of them to start.
No. Imagine that. All right. Let's move on. Friday's games, really big game for Maryland against some Division II team who they destroyed. And then
I looked at that game and I'm wondering, I forgot that even. I didn't even know that happened, to be honest.
Yeah, neither did I. Wisconsin winning at Rutgers, kind of grinding it out. What do you think about these games?
Yeah, you know, I think for Rutgers, it's this year. I mean, they've struggled on the road just like they did last year. But the big difference is no fans, and they haven't been the same at home. This is a game they'd win last year if they were at home. The Iowa game's a game they would have won. They were at home. And they couldn't do it. They're now squarely on the bubble, and they're losing to Penn State at halftime. They got to come back and win that game. Wisconsin, gutty performance, good win. They're still a top team in this conference. I don't think their ceiling's the highest in the conference, but I think they play at a consistent level most of the time. That's good for them. That was a big bounce back win also after the just complete and utter shit show they put on in Ann Arbor. Maryland, listen, Wingate's a very good basketball team. You come in. Let me go to the box score here. Oh, it doesn't even have a box score. I hate to see it.
Oh, I see it.
Well, I don't. I could go to the thing that the game recap that the AP automatically writes. Let's see. What did he? Oh, Aaron Wiggins scored 21 points. Well, there you go. Big win for Maryland.
Okay, Luke has joined us here on the podcast. Luke, right now we're on Friday of last week. We're discussing Maryland's big win over some Division II team and Wisconsin winning at Rutgers.
Well, obviously that's a good win for Wisconsin. Rutgers has hit a little low lately. Reminds me of the Ohio State team from last year. Kind of start off really strong, then kind of struggle in the mid part of the season. 2 years ago. No. Remember 2 years ago when Ohio State got a really good start and then they lost like 6 straight in Big Ten play? Well, no. Last year was when we got up to number 2 in the country, and then we went like 500 for the next 12 games. Yeah. Yeah. So that's last year. No, it's like 2 years ago. No, because we didn't start off as hot 2 years ago. Well, okay, fine. 2 years ago. I don't care. Maryland, that's obviously a great win. They're still a top 3 team in the Big Ten. Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Rutgers, I think they can bring it together. They just, I don't know. They seem to be struggling, just like gelling. Last year, it seemed like everything went right. That's true too. Last year, everything that could go right for Rutgers went right. This year, now they're not starting to get as many breaks, and the rack's not full. The rack, when it's not full, it's a different plate.
Yeah, it's a great point. Maryland. This is Maryland's best win of the season so far. Wingate, very good team, as Mike said. They got some really good players.
Yes, Winthrop. They played Winthrop.
FrancisCio for Wingate, averaging 18 a game. Very good player.
No, they played the combination of Colgate and Winthrop.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right.
Colgate's what, number 22 in the?
Well, they're number 1 in your model.
Net ranking.
They're number 1 in your rankings.
No, they're not anymore because I changed some things, but it's still messed up. So I'm still working on it.
Oh.
But they're not number 1.
Okay. The Wisconsin game, another kind of a grinded out win for Wisconsin. They made an adjustment here. They moved Reavers to the bench.
But that's how they play.
Yeah, absolutely. Reavers to the bench here, only played 17 minutes. I'm wondering if that's because he was horrible against Michigan. And
no, it's because Micah Potter's the best player in the country. That's why.
Okay. Well, they usually start both of them. I'm wondering.
Was Micah Potter on the mid-season Wooden Award watch list? He was on the mid-season LH14.com watch list, and that's far more impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Reavers was just awful against Michigan earlier in the week. So I'm wondering if he's just getting punished there by Greg Gard.
Does it say how many fouls? He might have been in foul trouble.
He didn't start. He only had one foul.
I mean, let's be honest. There's no way Wisconsin could get away with playing 2 big men. Can't do it. You got to start Tyler Wall. That's your future. You got to start.
He only had 1 foul in this game. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there with his minutes moving forward. But good win for Wisconsin.
No, that's not a personal foul. That's points for.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right. Saturday's games, Minnesota with a very impressive wire-to-wire win over Michigan, who had been rolling before that. And Ohio State going to Illinois and getting a big win, 87-81. What do you guys think about these games?
Yeah, a great win for Ohio State. It was a wire-to-wire win. I think we led the whole time. They made a little push at the end there, but we ended up winning comfortably. Great game for E.J. Liddell. With 26 points. 7 rebounds, and these last few games, 2 or 3 games down in a row, we've won without C.J. Jackson. So when he 2-0 without C.J. Jackson, that's what it is. Or 2-1, I guess. Now that we lost to Purdue, but C.J. Jackson, C.J. Walker, C.J. Walker, yeah, same guy. Who cares? Yeah, pretty much the same guy. Yeah, same player. But yeah. So I think. If we can finally get back to full strength, I think we'll be able to make a run. I think second weekend team, and maybe push a little farther if we get a couple breaks. But yeah, good win for. And then what was the other game there?
Minnesota over Michigan.
Minnesota, yeah, but it was at home. Minnesota's a totally different team at home. The barn is the new rack. So, tough. Obviously, Michigan should have kept it closer. 20 points, that's unacceptable.
I mean, yeah, it was closer than the score. It was closer than the score.
No. At the barn, can't beat them.
Yeah, this is complete BS. Minnesota, I don't know what they do. Maybe they got that globetrotter thing where the coach is on the sideline, he can control the flight of the ball. Maybe it's they have smaller rims when the opponent's on offense. I don't know what it is.
They actually for every point a player scores, they give them $20 in a Wendy's bag on the bench.
Okay, all right. And yeah, opponents just cannot shoot the ball well at Minnesota. Nobody has done it. Everybody
and the problem is
under 40%. Michigan State shot under 30%. Ohio State shot under 40%.
Mike, that's why they're not as good on the road is because of COVID. They're not allowed to go out and go to the Wendy's. They have to stay in their hotels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good win for Minnesota. That was a game. Minnesota's they're really heightening their resume just by these home wins. They beat Iowa, beat Michigan State, the run into Michigan State. They beat Ohio State, and they got some other opportunities as well. And for Michigan, I don't really take much out of this. It's a road game in the Big Ten. Noon tip. They just weren't ready to play. That happens. Michigan will be fine. Minnesota, that's a big win. Ohio State, good win over Illinois. Illinois is struggling a little bit right now. I think Illinois is another team that if they had that home environment, they'd be pretty much unbeatable with the amount of talent they have. But hey, you don't have it. You got to manufacture your own energy. They weren't able to do it. Ohio State got off to a big start. They were able to hold on at the end. That's a good win for Ohio State. They're looking really good right now.
Yeah, good win for Ohio State. Illinois is scuffling a little bit. They're overrated, as I've been saying all year.
Nope.
But that's a really good win on the road. E.J. Liddell, very good game. I'm still looking for that guy. That closer at the end of the game that you can go give the ball to.
Yeah, I think that's our big weakness. We have not a lot of depth at the guard position, but we also don't have a star that can just take over a game if we need it. But
yeah. So
who knows? Maybe Seth Towns comes into that role.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there, but that's a really good win.
He's still on a minutes restriction, so.
As for this Michigan game, there's a lot that went into this. First of all, we were sleepwalking out of the gate, and you can't do that on the road. But, it was obvious the loss of Eli Brooks was not helping us out here.
Sounds like an excuse.
I'm not making an excuse. We should have played better.
You are.
But it certainly went into the game because he's clearly our best defender, and what do you know, Marcus Carr goes for 17 and 6, and he would have been on him the whole game.
Well, knowing Mark, I'm sure he shot the ball 17 times to get those 17
Yeah, actually,
points.
well, he was 6 for 18, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And Liam Robbins was also really good in this game. Another thing,
Liam Riley.
So in Michigan, Michigan had 20 turnovers. And Minnesota scored on a lot of those turnovers.
Yeah, that's not good.
I thought Michigan's defense was fine. I mean, Minnesota got a lot of points off turnovers.
Well, he scored 75 points.
Yeah, I mean, like 20 of them were off turnovers. So.
Okay.
So, Michigan, as for their shooting, we didn't shoot the ball very well. And what they did with Dickinson, they fronted him, they double-teamed him, and we couldn't make our open shots. And as Mike said, the rims are smaller. At the barn, we know this. Minnesota's a tough team to play on the road, so, tough loss.
Team. It's an impossible team to play on the road, except for Boston College. The only reason why Boston College kept it close is because Minnesota thought they didn't even need to do it and change the rim size. They thought they just beat them.
So, yeah.
Well, no. College just used to missing by so much that because they actually moved the rims to the left like 6 inches, which Boston College is just used to missing that much. By that much, they actually played well.
Yeah, so reading our press clippings a little bit, but, sometimes you need a game like that, so whatever.
Yeah, but you prefer you don't need a game like that.
That's one way to spin it.
That's true. Yeah. Listen, well, I would be more angry, but, they came back and just completely – they played probably their best, even better than the Wisconsin game the other night. We'll talk about that in a second. All right. Iowa over Northwestern, Purdue over Penn State on Sunday. Any surprises here? Anything you want to say?
Obviously you're playing Iowa, but Northwestern kind of falling apart. They remind me of DePaul from last year. I was telling Mike this the other day.
That's a really good comparison, actually.
Get a couple wins that you probably shouldn't have gotten, and then you just kind of go back to where you should be. And Iowa's still chugging along. I'm just sitting here waiting for the collapse, waiting for the train to go off the tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you all this about Northwestern. I mean, they started off a little bit of an easier stretch to start off conference season. You got a bad Michigan State team at home. You beat them. At Indiana, an Indiana team that looks really bad right now. You beat them. Ohio State, I would consider that win a lucky win, a win against Ohio State. Ohio State should have won that game. They were leading for most of it. Here's the problem.
They hit a 3 at the end.
Northwestern's way better than they were last year, but they still have the same problems they've had the last couple of years. They don't play defense. It's not. I mean, they try. They just can't. They don't have the athletes to play defense. Their offense, which started out the Big Ten pretty good, pretty hot. It's kind of
because they have a bunch of guys who can shoot pretty well.
Yeah, that's the problem. They haven't been.
But they can't. But they can't get their own shot. Is the problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. Miller Kopp, their best player, he can't get his own shot. Pete Nance's really come into his own, but the guy who's really struggled after putting up like 55 at Michigan State. What the hell happened to Bo Bowie? This kid was supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he hasn't done anything besides putting up 55 at Michigan State. But yeah, that's Iowa taking care of business. Can't really say anything about that. Purdue, that's a good win. I mean, Penn State at home on a Sunday. That's an upset alert, especially with no fans, and they were able to hold on, get the win. That's a good win. Penn State's a scrappy team, so very.
Who's coaching Penn State now?
Jim Ferry.
Is he an interim or they hire him as the full time?
It's Danny Ferry.
I think he's an interim. Anyways, yeah, good win for Iowa. Taking care of business. That's a great comparison, Luke. The DePaul comparison. I didn't think of that one. And Purdue, chugging along. I don't really have much to say.
Except this Northwestern team would destroy last year's DePaul team.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep this moving. On to Tuesday, Michigan just absolutely annihilating Maryland. Purdue with a last-minute 3 from Jaden Ivey. And Illinois over Penn State at home. What do you guys think about these games?
Yeah, kind of everything as we expect, except for the Ohio State losing on that. But it wasn't a buzzer beater, but might as well have been a buzzer beater to Purdue. Purdue's going to be our new Penn State. Remember Penn State from a couple Makeda Bates the up year when they just beat us every time on either a buzzer beater, some crazy shot. That half court, there was one half court buzzer beater by frickin' what's his
Tony Carr.
What?
Tony Carr.
What is he doing now? Probably making burgers at McDonald's. Then he hit 2 buzzer beaters to beat us and went off for 40 points in the game to beat us.
Luke, he's probably quote unquote making burgers at the Knoxville, Tennessee McDonald's.
That's right. And that's my prediction because that kind of same thing happened the first game. We played Purdue at Purdue. This time we play at Ohio State and they beat us on a buzzer beater. Now my prediction will probably meet them in the Big Ten tournament and we'll lose. So there are Penn State. That's my take on that game. Yeah, but Purdue is a tournament team, so it's not a bad loss. They're a tournament team.
Yeah, you got to respect the hell out of what Purdue's doing, what Matt Painter's doing. Ever since the second half of the Michigan State game, it's just been all upward. They've won like 4 straight. They've done a lot of good things.
Well, and they have that big man. Who's that big man?
Trevion Williams. Oh no, Zach Edey. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Edey. That's a big mismatch for us. We don't have any big guys.
He sucks.
So. Edey Williams is really good too.
Yeah, but he's also 6 inches taller than anybody else we have.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the wins that Purdue's got. They aren't exactly the most impressive. Besides the Ohio State game, they beat Michigan State, Indiana, and Penn State. But you got to take advantage of the weaker teams in the conference, and they're doing that. Purdue's a really good team. I still want to see them against a team like Michigan, with they're playing them later
tomorrow.
This week.
Play them tomorrow.
Yeah, they got to come out. They got to show who they are because Michigan is not which segues me into this game. Michigan, they're just 20 times better at home than they are on the road. And maybe, for a lot of teams, they are better at home, but for Michigan and Minnesota, the home and road splits are crazy. Maybe not as bad as Minnesota, but Michigan, they play way better at home. And they took advantage of a Maryland team coming off a really big win against Wingate, but, I guess it wasn't big enough. They might have been overlooking this Michigan team, after the big emotional win against Wingate. But Illinois, good win. Got to beat Penn State. They did it. So got to give them credit for that. And I think Illinois is going to be fine. I think they're going to come out. They're going to go on a win streak just like they did last year, and they're going to be a top 4 to 5 seed in the tournament.
Yeah, good one for Illinois. And then the Ohio State game. I mean, Ohio State, I thought had that game in hand. It's Stefanovic made a big shot, and then Ivy, a crazy shot, and then the presence of mind for when Ohio State is running down the floor looking to tie the game to foul. Matt Painter is just a genius.
When Matt Painter's screaming foul, 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 and you foul, is that a great
Well,
thing?
it's just, it's in the heat of the moment. That's a tough thing to do. There's a Matt Painter, great coach. He's doing a great job with this team. Purdue is really hot.
Yeah, that's late news.
And I'm not really looking forward to that game tomorrow as a Michigan fan.
It's a tough game.
Yeah, it is. As for this Michigan game, this was just a spanking here of Maryland last night. They learned. I give them credit. They learned from last time. They didn't let Dickinson beat them, so they decided they were going to double them. And we just made. They left.
Well, they have a fish as a coach. Their coach is literally a fish.
Yeah, they doubled them. So I give them credit. They made an adjustment, but the problem is they left us wide open from three. Everybody was wide open, and we made our open shots. So. Good win. Defended well.
Chris is acting like beating Maryland's like the greatest thing they've ever done.
Well, they are a top 3 team in the Big Ten.
I'm just analyzing the game. And as for your thing about the road games, so far I guess, but we just haven't. Outside of Minnesota, we know Minnesota does it.
You haven't played anybody, and the one team you played, you lost by 20.
Yeah, exactly. We know what Minnesota does on the road, so I don't know if we're ready to say that yet. And by the way, Michigan does not play a ranked road game until the middle of February.
That's bogus.
This is an absolute joke.
People talk about how the Big Ten loves Ohio State. Yeah, you want to talk about who the Big Ten really loves is Michigan.
Michigan plays in the entirety of the Big Ten conference season. If every team is ranked and unranked as they are today, they play 2 ranked road games.
Yeah, that's bogus.
2 more.
Look at the teams they're playing on the road. Purdue's not going to be ranked.
No, yeah, I know. It's Wisconsin and Ohio State.
Ranked. Indiana won't be ranked. Michigan State won't be ranked. So you're going to play 2 the entirety of conference season.
Well, we got Minnesota 2, so 3.
Okay, 3. That's still, and they were number 23, so they're at the bottom end of the top 25.
Yeah,
so that's embarrassing.
I think Ohio State plays 3 in a week.
All right. All right, let's cap this off. Wisconsin Northwestern last night. You guys have anything to say, or can we move on?
No.
I just want to talk about how great Greg Gard is as a coach. I said it last year. You laughed at me. This was before Wisconsin went on their little run to win the Big Ten championship last year. But he is a really good coach. He's kind of undervalued. A lot of people think he's just a walking mirror with his giant forehead. But he's a great coach, great basketball mind. And he'll return his entire team next year.
All right. The marquee game of the week was supposedly
Penn State Rutgers
was supposedly taking place in Waco, and it was Kansas and Baylor. Baylor with a pretty wire-to-wire victory. What do we have for thoughts on this game?
What a backdoor cover, though. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that's got to be brutal if you had Baylor -8.5. Good win for Baylor. I think Kansas is very good. I just don't think they're like championship level. I think they're a second-tier team. Baylor and Gonzaga have kind of separated themselves from everybody else in the country at the moment. But yeah, good win for Baylor. I was at home too, so But
that place was rocking. I haven't heard. That was the loudest arena I've heard all year.
It was BS.
Yeah.
How many people were they allowing in?
I don't know.
They packed the house.
It looks like it was a full crowd. It was like unbelievable. Was like I couldn't believe
the
it.
The Notre Dame football game.
Yeah, they're all waving the towels. They were screaming. It was crazy.
Yeah, I saw Mike DeCourcy, the Corona Bro, was talking about how bad it was.
Yeah.
People were there.
So they stormed the court?
No, I mean, they're supposed to, yeah.
I mean, Baylor, one of the top medical schools in the country, right? I mean, you'd think they know a little bit.
I think so.
Anyway, yeah, good win for Baylor. Scott Drew, I've been saying it for 3-4 years. He's one of the best coaches in college basketball. Chris laughed at me when I said it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Chris has been saying how he's a choker and he sucks, and Baylor always sucks because they choke.
You know, he's been to 2 Elite Eights, a couple Sweet 16s.
And now Chris wants to jump on the bandwagon.
Let me just remind you
what there's Baylor no space.
What was Baylor before he got there? Absolutely nothing. They were the worst program in the Big 12.
Yeah, because they were on sanctions. They were sanctioned.
Yeah, he went in there. He changed the entire culture. He brought in guys from overseas. He won that way, and then he kind of changed it a little bit. He's still getting those guys from overseas, but he's getting the guys, from in-state. He's getting guys all around the country, and he's developing them. Great coach. Kansas, I think we can all agree, this is a Kansas team that they don't have the talent that they usually do. They're still a pretty good team. I like Christian Brown a lot. I think he's one of the best guards in the country.
Remember that kid from Edward Little?
Who?
I don't remember that kid from Edward Little said he was going to Kansas to be a walk-on.
Yeah, is he playing? I mean, Chris would know.
I didn't see him on the box score now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's not on the team.
Yeah, it's a tough break. Yeah, I mean, never in my time watching college basketball have I ever looked at a team and said, this team is a lock to get to the Final Four. Never done that before. And right now I'm ready to make that declaration with Baylor. I mean,
right. They just almost lost to Texas Tech. So
well, they won.
And that's a Sweet 16 team. So
they won the game.
You're going to barely beat a Sweet 16 team. I can't say you're a Final Four.
Well, they were. First of all, it was on the road. They didn't play well at all, and they still won. And you look at Baylor, and by the way, I made this declaration earlier in the week, and I'll say it for all of our loyal viewers. I am done saying anything bad about Scott Drew. The man's a genius.
Yeah, exactly.
I was wrong.
I've been telling you for years.
I was wrong. I was wrong.
What did you say last year? Oh, Baylor's a great team. They're gonna be a great regular season team, then choke in the tournament, even though they were the number 1 team in the country for about half the year last year.
I was wrong. Mike and Luke were right. Okay.
Call me Daddy.
Dad.
Good boy.
Okay.
Yeah, good girl.
Yeah, Mark Vidal, ultimate glue guy, and him and Davion Mitchell might be the 2 best defenders in the entire country. And
no, Aaron Henry.
Jared Butler, 30-8 on 10 for 14 shooting, 7 for 9 from 3. I mean, this guy is an absolute stud, and obviously you got Maceo Teague. This team is just unbelievable. And, Kansas, yeah, they're okay. They're a top 15 team.
You know what this screams? I know, I love Scott Drew. This screams to me, to me, it seems like this is going to be the greatest team he's ever going to have, and then for the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to be a fringe tournament team.
Well, they're recruiting well.
Yeah, it feels like Wisconsin under Bo Ryan.
I'd hope so. He's been the number 1 or number 2 team in the country for the last year and a half. I hope you can be able to recruit players.
All right. So we've seen some Blue Bloods struggling this year. It was the first time since, I think, 1961 that Duke, Kentucky, and Carolina were all out of the top 25.
Yeah.
So let's discuss, out of Duke, Kentucky, and Carolina, how many, if any, make the tournament?
I think Duke makes the tournament. I think UNC's on the bubble at the moment, but I think they'll end up making it. This is assuming it stays at a 68-team tournament. And I don't think Kentucky makes. I think that Kentucky would have to win the SEC tournament to make the tournament at the moment. But I think this. I just think this kind of shows. I don't want to say it's a problem, but it just kind of shows kind of the downsides, I think, of the one and done recruiting, is that you'll run out of, like, if you don't get, like, look at Kentucky, if you don't get the right guys, this year they have a bunch of one and done talent, but they have a bunch of guys that don't fit well together. They can't shoot. You look at Duke, they kind of just, you mess on one class and you're kind of screwed. So, and UNC the last 2 years have been down. So I kind of just think it shows kind of part of the downside of the one and done recruiting.
Here's what I'll say. I think UNC's got a good future. I think they've got a lot of young guys, but I think they're going to stay. I don't think a lot of them are going to leave. Caleb Love might leave, but I think their big 7-footer white guy. I think he's going to stay for a couple of years. So I think North Carolina's got a pretty decent future, but Duke and Kentucky, you're right. Especially Kentucky. I think it shows a couple of things. Number one, I think this class, this 2020 class, was just complete garbage. Now, some of them
they're good players. They just don't fit together. None of them can shoot. It's like you can just pack the paint.
Then they're not good players. If you can't shoot a basketball, you're not a good player. It's really
great.
as simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, some of the guys decide to go to the G League. Now, not everyone. There's still some of the top recruits are still playing college basketball. You had a couple on Kentucky. Brandon Boston, who really hasn't done anything. Terrence Clark, he hasn't been great either. And then you got a bunch of misfits on that team. All rookies. Nobody who can really take charge. And then you finally find a guy, and Calipari doesn't play him because he's not an NBA prospect. And it won't help his MO, his agenda of getting guys to the NBA. And that's going to hurt him in the long run because more guys are going to go to the G League. It's just as simple as it gets. Maybe when this likeness thing comes into play, which is pushed back.
I hope so. I actually don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, it's gonna get put into regulation pretty soon. If not this year, next year.
I was listening to Herb Street, and he was saying that he doesn't think it's a good idea because, he can just see where, like, especially these football schools and these big basketball schools, they'll just, instead of paying the players, they'll just say, they'll go to a booster and they'll get these guys big name and likeness deals. So it'll be legally paying the players.
Yep. It's just, that's how it's going to work. They're going to find ways to get these kids paid, especially the big ones. It doesn't matter what the rule is.
I think it might be one of the most, I know it's a little off topic, but one of the most just false things out there right now that these college kids are walking around just poor and can't buy themselves a burger from McDonald's. Like, these guys.
Yeah, I remember when Jabril Peppers pulled that BS a couple years ago when he was at Michigan.
Yeah. These guys are not struggling for money. They have plenty of money.
You're telling me, and Jabril Peppers was talking about how he can't like eat at night. Like, BS. If you're on the Michigan football team,
especially Michigan, they're feeding you every night. You kidding me? Ohio State does it every night. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the facility for the guys. You think Michigan isn't doing the same thing? Give me a break.
But anyway, yeah. Who's going to make the tournament? For the Blue Bloods, Kansas will, obviously. Kentucky won't. I don't think North Carolina will. I think they're a year away. Duke, I think they'll find a way to make it.
A year away? They're North Carolina.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. Well, I think we've seen the decline of the Blue Bloods.
Ohio State football's a year away from winning the Big Ten.
North Carolina, what were they, like 9-23 last year?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, so they're a little better, but they're not much better than last year.
If they missed the tournament this year, is Roy Boy on the hot seat, or is he on the warm seat?
No.
His name's on the fucking floor. Maybe that's Dean Smith. No, his
name's on the court. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That would be wild.
Yeah.
Well, if he gets fired and if I'm the next,
you gotta scrape his name off the court. You gotta.
Yeah, I want my name on the floor without even coaching a game.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I think Carolina's gonna make it. I think they're good enough, and I think Duke will be a bubble team. Kentucky, no way. But here's the thing. Less so with Carolina, but still, what's the common theme with these teams?
They have blue, the color blue.
Okay, with the way they play.
Yes. They have old coaches stuck in their own way.
Sort of. None of them can shoot. Duke can't shoot. Kentucky can't shoot. We know that. And Carolina can a little bit, but the way they play is so, 1970s. They got these two giants down low. And, they don't really play enough from the outside.
Well, what have we known about Roy Boy? Roy Boy is a better version of Mark Turgeon. The dude can't coach. It's really simple as that. He's great at developing guys, but he is a terrible X's and O's coach, and we've known this for years.
I just don't like the roster. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think Carolina was good enough though. They'll get in as an 8 or 9 or something. But yeah, we'll see. All right, pick a game from this week and say something about it.
All right, Mike, you go first while I pull this game up.
Yeah, let me just go back. Tuesday was a pretty good night. There's got to be some good games from there.
I can say something if you're still finding something.
Well, I don't. Well, we have
you
Richmond
can
in a 20-point win over George Mason. That was a great win for Richmond. They dominated both halves. 9-3 now. I think they're going to win the A-10. We got to get our update on Indiana, who's struggling. I think they'll make the tournament, but they're struggling a little bit. But I have faith in what's-his-face. They obviously lost to Purdue, which wasn't good. And they have Iowa tonight. Upset alert, Iowa. And West Virginia obviously had that kid lead the team, and they lost the next game. And then they lost to Texas. That was the game they lost. And they've had 3 straight games postponed because of COVID. So that's the update on Luke's 3 teams. Yeah.
I'll go. How about, Chris, I want you to apologize right now. I might have been 4 or 5 weeks ago where you said Alabama sucked.
Yeah,
horrible,
that's a good point.
Alabama,
I like Alabama.
I like Alabama too. I love their coach. He's
They
ballsy.
shoot a shit ton of threes.
Yep, they play analytical basketball, which I respect. Just shoot the threes, and they play good defense. My guy Nate Oates, they're in position to win the SEC. They're 2 games up right
Isn't
now.
this his first year on the job, or is it his second year?
It's his second year, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive. He's recruited very well there too. Alabama, that's my team of the week for sure. And they got a big win over LSU. They're just destroying people right now. Went into Rupp and beat Kentucky by a record margin under Calipari. Destroyed Arkansas at home. Destroyed you. They're on a high right now. Now you got to be looking to see if they're peaking too early with these results. I mean, these are crazy, crazy results that they're putting up right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Alabama is that you have to be consistent, and I'm glad you brought up that last point because this is a team that you would usually say, oh, they're peaking. You would. I don't believe in that, but you would. But I will say this Alabama team reminds me a lot of Michigan last year. Not the same time.
Well, Michigan didn't start 7-0 in conference play. That's
no,
sure.
but not at the same time, but the stretch they went on where they just couldn't miss from 3. And they live and die by the 3, and that's not usually what works in March. But anyways, I'll get to
it's analytics.
Before I get to my Big East update, I will want to say this: Virginia ended Clemson's season last week by completely humiliating them, and then Clemson got blasted by Georgia Tech. So their season is over.
Yeah, I think the model had Georgia Tech favored in that game. So.
I mean, you have to look at these teams in the ACC. They've got talent. Georgia Tech is a talented basketball team. Now, they've had a bunch of games postponed.
Blasted. They got blasted by Georgia Tech.
Oh, I'm sure Georgia Tech got blasted too after that game.
Georgia Tech, they're 7-3 right now. What are they? Okay, they've only got 1 conference loss. They've had a crap ton of games postponed, but they beat.
Are they still ineligible?
No, that was last year. I think they're eligible this year. Yeah, they beat Clemson.
Go.
Yeah,
they might be my
watch
team
out for
Josh.
Georgia Tech. I'm telling you, Georgia Tech might be a sneaky tournament team. Watch out for them.
Yeah, well, okay. My Big East update, by the way, I want to highlight a couple upsets from last week. Show you how competitive the Big East is. St. John's season has life. They beat.
Or just how bad the top teams are.
Oh, really, Luke? Well, you know who they beat on the road? UConn, your team. So.
Yeah, but UConn doesn't have book night.
That's true. Creighton lost to Butler. That was an interesting game. And my team here, the Providence Friars, go into Omaha last night and win. Great game from Nate Watson. We had that bank 3 from Duke at the end of the game. That's a big win. And they were fully healthy. They had Zagorowski back. That's a big win for Providence. They needed that. So,
Chris, I've realized why I hate the Big East.
Why? Because I like it?
Because Chris likes them.
Okay. Besides yourself, have you ever met a single Big East fan? Take UConn out of this. Have you a single Big East fan of any team?
Dan Riley, he went to Villanova.
Yep, okay, great point.
Villanova might be the one exception.
Actually,
every other team in the Big East has no fans.
That's not true. I know a Creighton fan.
Fans.
I know a Creighton fan.
Oh my God.
Who, McHugh?
Yeah.
Well, because his son's the manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that doesn't count. If you look at in the state of Nebraska, I bet you 90% are still Nebraska basketball fans in that state.
Nope.
Look at the
Not Doug McDermott's wife.
In the city of Cincinnati, where Xavier is, I bet you 70% are Ohio State fans, and then maybe 10 to 20%.
Well, did you see that the Ohio State did a video where they went to Cincinnati before he played them in football, like their campus, and they just had 90% of the people there were wearing Ohio State stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike.
And I love what?
Brad Stevens is a Butler fan.
Yeah, okay. I love when people say Xavier Cincinnati is a great rivalry. It's not a great rivalry. Both teams don't have any fans. I mean, give me a break. What are all the Ohio State fans coming? Their secondary teams coming to watch?
Xavier kind of packs the house for all their games.
Well, yeah, their entire student body. No one else goes to the games.
They haven't had a single fan this year. They haven't had a single fan this year outside of family members.
Exactly. Ever heard of a Marquette fan? I've never heard of a Marquette.
Yeah, I do know.
They're all up on the UP.
I know one.
The ferry stopped.
You know one.
Yeah, I know one.
Okay. Providence,
doesn't count.
0 fans.
I'm a fan of Providence.
I said besides yourself, 0.
No.
Heath's
a Providence fan.
Creighton? Who else is Georgetown? Okay, maybe Georgetown, but they've gone downhill a lot.
I know a lot of St. John's fans.
All right, nobody's a fan of St. John's.
St. John's might have the biggest fan base in the Big East.
Yeah, the New York
Nobody
team.
in New York
outside of UConn.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go through the best teams in each power conference before we get to the picks. We'll go from worst to best pretty objectively here.
Big East first.
So we'll start with the Pac-12.
Oh, UCLA, because they have Mick Cronin. No doubt in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Well, I got to pull up the Pac-12 standings because, to be honest, besides UCLA, I don't.
Well, everyone's a winner right now in the Pac-12 now that Larry Scott's gone.
Yeah, they're going to hire Bill Walton. Yeah, I'm not a believer in Oregon. They do have Eugene Omoruyi. He's a good player. He's a good player. I like Colorado a bit.
Colorado just lost to Washington.
Yeah, well, okay. They're not undervalued anymore. They suck. Arizona State's a joke. Washington is a joke. I'm sure the Washington.
Well, how about Chris's team? How about Chris's team, Stanford?
They're all right. They're 4-3 in conference.
Yeah, they're okay.
Tournament team Stanford.
They'll make the tournament.
My guy,
no, they won't. You kidding me?
He's got Oregon State right in the mix. But yeah, I'd have to say UCLA is the best team. But just look at the Pac-12 right now. This is one of the worst power conferences in probably the history of the freaking NCAA college basketball.
Except for 2 years ago when they were even worse.
No. This is all time bad. This is horrible.
I saw a funny tweet the other day. It said according to it was like Larry Scott's been fired, or the Pac-12 network first broke the Larry Scott news, but 2 hours ago, but no one saw it because no one owns the Pac-12 network or something like that.
The Pac-12 is a complete and utter mess, and I don't know who would take that commissioner job the way it's looking.
I would.
It's because they got a network deal that's expiring, and they want to show they have stability, so they want to get a new.
So they fired the guy. They have stability, so they fired him.
No, because he's getting old, so they don't want him retiring in the middle of negotiating a new TV deal.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting conference. I might have gone with USC if we'd done this like 2 days ago. But
no. USC sucks. They lose to Oregon State.
They just lost to Oregon State, so I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, that's the model. The model had them losing to Oregon State.
Really?
Didn't I tell you guys that?
No.
I thought I said that to Mike or somebody.
I still like Stanford as a team, but right now I got to go with Oregon. I just trust them pretty much more than any other team here.
That's ridiculous.
No, Oregon State's the team you got to trust.
Yeah. All right, the SEC.
Well, obviously, usually
okay,
I would
why
go
is the SEC second?
Because.
Usually I would go with
best conference.
Okay.
I would go with Kentucky because they have the best coach, and they still do. I want to say Alabama. I really do, but right now I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Yeah, I really want to say Tennessee because I think they got the best team. The way they're built, they play good defense. They slow the pace down. Their coach is good in the regular season. He sucks in the tournament. But that's a bad loss to a Florida team that really isn't playing good basketball right now.
They didn't have their three best players.
What?
Florida didn't have their three best players in that game.
Yeah, one literally is on his deathbed. Well, he's off it, but he was on it. And Alabama right now, they're 2 games up, and they're the best team right now. I think it's not really close.
Yeah, I think Alabama's the best team right now. I agree. But by the end of
right now, I'd take Alabama. Yeah. But if you ask me at the end of the year who's going to be number 1, I think it's going to be Tennessee.
Absolutely, I agree with Luke there. At the end of the year, it will be Tennessee.
Let's look at their schedule. They don't even play Tennessee for the rest of the year.
They already beat them.
Have they played yet?
They already beat them.
Yeah, they beat them.
Yeah, right now it's Alabama. Wait,
who won? Alabama beat Tennessee or Tennessee beat Alabama?
Alabama won.
Alabama beat Tennessee.
On the road, Alabama won. Yeah, so I think it's going to be Tennessee by the end of the year, but we'll see. All right, the ACC.
The ACC's kind of down this year, to be honest with you, in my opinion. I think it's between Virginia and Virginia Tech, which is kind of great. They played in a couple games, but the kind of in-state rivalry got there. Good for the ACC. But I'd go with Virginia, just history.
Yeah, I'm not bought in on Virginia Tech yet. I saw them get housed by Penn State at home, so I'm still not convinced. Who they played? They played Wake Forest, a Duke team that's struggling, beat them. Notre Dame, Louisville. Louisville's okay, but they lost to them. Yeah, they just really haven't played anybody, so I'm not really convinced about Virginia Tech. I think it's Virginia and Florida State. Those are my top 2 teams.
I like Leonard Hamilton. Everyone knows I'm a big Leonard Hamilton guy.
Yeah, Florida State's got some big wins on their resume. Be a really good Indiana team. They play Clemson on ABC on Saturday. That's a big game. They beat Louisville on the road. They destroyed them. The score was way, way worse than it looked, the final score. Beat Georgia Tech. Yeah, I like Florida State as my top team. Actually, no, I'm going to go with Virginia, but Florida State's close. They're number 2. I like Virginia. I think they're going to win the ACC again.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of middling tournament teams in this conference. A lot of them.
Middling tournament? Who's a middling tournament team?
Syracuse.
No, they're not a tournament team.
Clemson.
Okay.
Louisville.
Georgia Tech, Pitt,
Georgia Tech,
Duke.
Louisville, Duke, NC State. A lot of them.
NC State's not a tournament.
Yeah, they'll make tournament. So, yeah, I'm going to take Virginia.
They'll be the last team in. They're always the last team in.
Yeah. I'm going to take Virginia Tech here as my best team. I think Virginia's close, and I agree with Mike. We got to watch out for Florida State. They're playing well right now. They did lose to UCF.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think NC State's second best win is UMass Lowell.
Let's take a look.
They've literally played nobody, and they're 6-4. They beat North Carolina. That's their only good win.
They did beat BC. That's a big win. Okay.
UMass Lowell would beat BC.
All right, fair enough. So yes, probably. Okay. The Big East. Do we need to discuss this, or are we Villanova? Anybody have any objections?
They just haven't played.
Yeah, objection.
They played?
They played the other night.
Chris is talking about the Big East. I'll talk about the American. I think Houston's the best team. I don't think it's close. If we really want to talk about the Big East, it's got to be UConn.
I think when we look at previous Villanova teams, what do we see? Well, we see just absurdly talented teams with a bunch of shooters, and they play good defense. I don't see that with this Villanova team. They're definitely not the number 3 team in the country. I mean, that's ridiculous. They have some good players, but they're not, they're not what they used to be. They're 2 championship teams, not even close to those teams. I still think they're the best team in the Big East. I don't think Creighton's really not playing well right now, and the rest of the conference is just average. Seems like. So I'll give it to Villanova, but I don't think they're that great.
I'm going with UConn.
It's Villanova here. Villanova is just
UConn.
Villanova is clearly the 3rd best team in the country. I mean,
are you kidding?
No.
They haven't played.
Okay, sure, but look at their talent. Look at the way they play.
What talent? I just told you they had no talent.
They had almost everybody returning from last year. Robinson, Earl, Gillespie.
Yeah, but the problem is those guys are just not even close to as good as the guys in the championship team. They aren't as good.
Okay, well, they were a top 10 team last year, and they had almost everybody returning. So I don't know what else you want.
Well, they just weren't that good.
Okay.
When you play in a shit conference and you beat down on shit teams, you're gonna get elevated.
Like Texas, they were bad, huh? That was a bad win.
Well, I told you that game Texas didn't play well.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why they won.
Villanova was horrible in that game. Are you kidding me?
No, Villanova played a perfect game. They shot 100% from three. They played just a perfect game.
They were 6 for 19 from three.
So, yeah, 6 for 6 from three. The threes that they needed to make, they made. So they were 6 for 6.
A lot of, as I said last time, a lot of with the ACC, a lot of middling tournament teams in this conference. Seton Hall, Creighton, Xavier, Marquette, Providence, middling tournament teams.
Okay, so is the entire country a middling tournament team? Is that what we're getting at?
No, it's just a lot of middling tournament teams. The only reason I put the Big East ahead of the ACC is because they had a legit top-tier team. All right. The Big 12.
I don't know. I think Virginia's better than Villanova, to be honest with you.
All right. Let's relax.
I think the Big 12 might be the most interesting conference coming down the stretch, because I think Baylor's the obvious favorite. But I think they have 4 teams that are kind of in that second tier I think they all could beat Baylor. That'll be a fun tournament to watch, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baylor's the best. But then you have Texas, Texas Tech, Kansas, and I think West Virginia. I know they've struggled lately, but I think they have the talent to be up there. I think those 4 teams are going to challenge Baylor, and I don't think they'll challenge them to win the conference regular season, but I think they'll challenge them in the conference tournament, and I think they'll challenge them in every game they play. So it's going to be interesting to watch kind of the final stretch of the Big 12 season.
Yeah, the Big 12, you have tiers. You have the upper tier with Baylor. You have the second tier, which is like top 10 teams, maybe. At their ceiling, you got Texas, Texas Tech, and Kansas. I think Oklahoma is a surefire tournament team. I like the way they're playing. If they got some really good wins, they beat Texas Tech and West Virginia. West Virginia, they'll be fine. They're going to make the tournament, I think. The 2 and 3, but they've had a lot of games postponed. Oklahoma State, if they were eligible for the tournament, they probably would be in it right now. But they're not.
No, that's not true. That's not true. They haven't decided yet.
What do you mean they haven't decided?
There's been no ruling. Or like they appealed it or something, and there was no ruling on the appeal. So they're still eligible.
So they've appealed it, but right now they're not in it. So
no, right now they're eligible. They're just expecting there could be a ruling by the end of the year.
Okay, so if you appeal it, that automatically makes you eligible.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay, Oklahoma State, yeah, okay. TCU, listen, Jamie Dixon,
right.
He's got a pretty good team down there. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Watch out for Jamie Dixon's team. They might come out. Remember a couple of years ago they won the conference tournament. Watch out. They might do it again.
Okay. Yeah, it's Baylor. There are a lot of good teams in this conference. I like the Big 12. Texas, Texas Tech, Kansas, West Virginia, even the 2 teams from Oklahoma, very good teams. That said, Baylor's way ahead of them, and they're easily the best team in the conference. All right. Who's the best team in the Big 10?
Do you think I'm going to answer this question? Which team do I think is going to win the Big 10 regular season? And I think that's Wisconsin. So I'm going to go with Wisconsin. Michigan, though, might because they have the easiest schedule.
Who is the best team in the Big 10? It is the University of Michigan.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's Iowa. I don't think anybody's really close right now. I don't think Michigan is as good as them.
Okay. I know you're a fan. You're trying to temper the expectations. That is the stupidest thing.
Maybe I shouldn't say that.
History of this podcast.
I think Michigan is semi-close. I don't think they're that close, though. I think Iowa's clearly better.
What?
I think
if they play on a neutral court, Michigan would win by 20.
No. Iowa
doesn't play defense.
Doesn't matter. They score too many points. As Iowa is tier 1, Michigan is tier 1.5. And then it's like Wisconsin, tier 2, and then everybody else. Because I like Wisconsin a lot still, and I think everybody else after that is kind of kind of a middling tournament team, maybe.
Rutgers cut it to 7.
Yep,
Watch out.
that's late news. I'm watching the game.
No,
all right.
You're watching it on Fubo TV. That means you're behind.
Well, actually, they just hit the 3, so they just cut it to 7. Wow. All right. Let's get to the picks.
Let's go.
So
it's my favorite part of the show.
I had the best week, and I'm now 5 games behind Mike. I went 14-6. Both Luke and Mike went 12-8. Luke is 16 games back.
Yeah, but I pick all the upsets right.
Yeah. So we had Rutgers at Penn State.
You're going to use your model now?
No, it's not ready.
We had Rutgers at Penn State. Mike and I picked Rutgers. Luke is a no pick because he just didn't respond. No,
I picked Rutgers.
He just didn't respond, so that's a no pick.
Well, when's the game?
No,
it's being
Penn
played
State
right now.
Oh, who's winning? I'll take Rutgers. I'm assuming they're winning, so
All right,
I'll take
fine.
them.
They're losing right now, so you get Rutgers.
Oh, well, shit.
They're only down by 5. So.
All right.
Well, I believe in them.
Now.
Indiana at number 4, Iowa.
Indiana. They're my team. Got to stick with them.
You know what? It just wouldn't shock me if an Archie Miller coach team, very physical team, could give an Iowa team some troubles. I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't see anything that tells me Indiana's going to win. But I think Iowa wins, but close, very close.
Iowa's going to blast them. Arizona at Arizona State.
Oh, God. Is that game tonight?
Yeah.
I'll take Arizona.
Oh, man. In-state rivalry. Arizona's playing a lot better than Arizona State right now. Arizona State's, I'm guessing their locker room's a complete mess. That'll be my guess. The reason why they're struggling, because they got way too much talent to be 4-6. I think Arizona State comes out and they win. Give me Arizona State.
Yeah, I'm going to take them as well. They're way too talented for this.
The state of Arizona is a complete mess in college basketball.
All right. Number 7, Michigan at Purdue.
Ooh, at Purdue. I'm still going to take Michigan.
Yeah, what did I say? This is a huge game for Purdue.
Actually, I'm taking Purdue.
This is one of those games.
I think Purdue matches up well.
You pencil in a win for Purdue. If it's in the regular season with fans, it's going to be a little different this time. What's the spread? Purdue's +3. Yeah, I can't go against Michigan right now. I'll take Michigan.
Purdue.
I'm taking Purdue.
I'm also taking Purdue. Number 9.
Good. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for me now.
Yeah.
It's also a win-win for
Chris. It's
a
win-win for me, too. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 9, Kansas at Oklahoma.
Kansas.
Telling you, I like Oklahoma. I think they're going to be. They've been playing well. They got some talent. Brady managed 30th year. Lon Kruger, he's a very good coach. I'll take Oklahoma.
I'm taking Kansas. Number 23, UConn at number 11, Creighton.
UConn. I might go Owen, whatever.
Mike, you gonna make a pick?
Yeah, I said Creighton.
Okay, I'm also taking Creighton.
It's a 4-point game.
Late news. Number 16, Virginia Tech at Syracuse.
Virginia Tech. God.
Yeah, Virginia Tech. No, I'm gonna go. Nope, Syracuse. Give me Syracuse.
Yeah, I'll take Syracuse too. Tough place to play.
Oh, Myron Jones is hit a 3. You hate to see it.
Late news. Maryland at number 17,
Nope.
Minnesota.
At Minnesota by 50.
Minnesota.
North Carolina State at North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Well, North Carolina, just, NC State was their bitch for a while, but NC State got it done earlier this year. But I still think North Carolina's going to win.
North Carolina. Providence at number 3, Villanova.
Villanova.
Here we go.
I'll take Villanova. Close. Number 20, Clemson at Florida State.
Florida State.
Yeah, I love the way Florida State's playing. Give me Florida State.
Florida State. Number 15, Ohio State at number 10, Wisconsin.
Ohio State.
Well, Luke takes Wisconsin to win the Big Ten and then takes Ohio State to beat them. Okay. I'll take Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Who else am I going to take? I can't take Michigan, and I've been beating on Iowa the whole year. I can't take Iowa.
Take Michigan State.
I trapped myself in a box. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're not going to play a game the rest of the year. What's his face is going to pull a Coach K and just retire the year. Say the year doesn't count because of COVID or something.
Okay. Duke at Louisville.
I'll take Louisville at home. Chris Mack.
Yeah, Louisville's okay. They're a very young team. Yeah, I'll take Louisville. I think they'll beat Duke.
I'm going to take Louisville as well. Number 24, UCLA at Stanford.
Oh, UCLA by 40.
Yeah, Mick Cronin. Give me
Mick
UCLA.
Cronin.
Yeah, listen, if Stanford's going to win this conference, they need to win this game. So Stanford.
Yeah, well, they're not going to win the conference. So.
Northwestern at Penn State.
Penn State. I'll just take the home team.
Penn State.
Penn State. Number 19, Missouri at number 6, Tennessee.
Oh, God. Tennessee blew them out last time.
Yeah.
I'll take Tennessee.
Yeah, Luke was talking about how overrated Missouri is, and I completely
I hate
agree.
Missouri. I hate
Completely
Missouri. I don't
agree.
think they're very good.
I'm taking Tennessee.
Tennessee.
And
Rutgers.
they were playing at Missouri, too, if I remember. I was watching the game.
Yeah, they were. Rutgers at Indiana.
I went to the bathroom. I come back, and Tennessee's already up by 20, 3 minutes into the game.
Yeah. Rutgers at Indiana.
Indiana.
Oh man, Rutgers really they need to win this one, and that might be a must-win for both those teams. I think it's going to be another letdown for Indiana, isn't it? I'm going to take Rutgers.
I'm also going to take Rutgers for that same reason. Another letdown.
Ridiculous.
Number 12, Texas Tech, and number 14, West Virginia.
I'll take West Virginia at home.
Yeah,
they will be coming up.
Up.
They're either going to win by a lot or they're going to lose by a lot. They're either going to come out really rusty or really good.
Yeah, in toss-up situations, I always take the home team, so I'll take West Virginia.
Wait, Luke, you said West Virginia, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking Texas Tech. Arizona State at Arizona. The second half of this.
Do they play 2 straight games?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually.
I'll take Arizona again.
Yeah, Arizona gets revenge.
Yeah, I agree. Arizona. Oklahoma at number 5, Texas.
Texas at home. Big rivalry game. Is it a big rivalry in basketball? It's still a big rivalry, I'm sure. So I'll take Texas.
Yeah, I mean, they're football school, so the rivalry isn't as big, but yeah, sure, I guess.
It's kind of like the Ohio State-Michigan. You still want to win, but...
I mean, I feel like Oklahoma State's a bigger rivalry in college basketball. But I'll take Texas.
I will also take Texas. North Carolina at Pitt.
No, I'll take Pitt. I think Pitt's very good this year. No, I don't think they're very good, but I think they're very underrated.
Yeah, I think Pitt right now, if they're not in the tournament, they're right there. Yeah, I think Pitt will pull it off.
I'm taking Carolina. Number 19, Missouri at Auburn.
Auburn. I like Auburn too, actually.
Yeah, listen, Missouri's overrated. Auburn's got this Sharif Cooper kid who's been playing pretty well. Bruce Pearl, he's going to be coaching his team up, even though they're not in the tournament. Even because he decided not to do the right things. I'm taking Auburn.
Character counts.
Character counts. Bruce Pearl.
I'm taking Missouri here. Number 19, Wisconsin at Penn State. Or not
Wisconsin.
19.
Number 10.
Yeah.
It's at Penn State?
Yeah.
Penn State plays well at home, but I think Wisconsin they'll win in a gritty fashion.
Yeah. Number 11, Creighton at Seton Hall.
I'll take Creighton.
Yeah, I don't like the way Creighton's playing. Seton Hall played well against Villanova. I'll take Seton Hall.
Yeah, interesting game here. I don't know. I just think Creighton will get going here. I'll take them. All right, our last game is...
So, Chris, when is Kevin Willard going to take a middle-of-the-pack ACC job?
All right, just because you said that, I'm taking Seton Hall. Because you're gonna just say something bad about Kevin Willard.
No. I'm just saying what Jeff Goodman said.
No, I'm
he's
switching my
actually
pick
talent.
to Sweeten Hall.
You know, they actually named Willie Beach after him.
Okay, I've switched
Really?
my pick to Seton Hall.
Yeah.
Our last game is Marquette at Providence.
Can I refuse to pick this game and get like a half game win and a
No,
half
you
game
can
loss?
get a loss.
Because I don't want to pick Providence. I don't want to take crackhead DJ Carton and Marquette. So
Okay.
I'll just take the loss.
All right.
I'll take Providence.
I'm also taking Providence. All right. Anything else to say before we finish up?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very weird season, a lot of postponements. It's been easily the worst basketball season for a Michigan State fan, not just because we suck, but there hasn't been a game in a long time. I just haven't been into the sport as much. But hey, listen, we'll get through it together. Amoni Bates is just in play, and we'll be ready to go next year.
All right. That's
It's been
going
a
to do
year
it.
away for 8 years.
Yeah, exactly. All right. That's going to do it for this edition of the Big Four podcast. Make sure to join us next week for some more college basketball, and stay safe.